Hello, welcome again to Jackrabbit Journal. Tom Neiman along with Hank McCall. How you doing?
I'm all right, man.
You're good this week?
I am.
All right, it was a great start, bad finish, end of the season for the Jackrabbit football team. And as good a season as it was, and it always is, it's always a huge thud when it comes down and ends before it should.
That it is. The guys worked so hard throughout the entire season, throughout the off season in preparation for 2016, and they had a heck of a run. Let's not sell them short. The guys played some good football, made some big plays, won some big games. But got to be disappointed with the outcome last week because it's a tough one to take on the chin.
All right, the Jacks score first and get out to a 10-0 lead in Fargo. They run the annexation of Puerto Rico trick play for a touchdown. And we don't care if it's been run before. It was awesome, and it worked, and the Jacks get to the lead. It was all rainbows and puppy dogs for the first quarter of the game. The Jacks avoid a disaster at the end of the first half when they fumble, give up the ball on their own 1-foot line, but they make a stand to keep NDSU out of the end zone. It's just 14-10 at halftime, Hank, and then what happened?
Well, some mistakes were made here and there, to say the least. And really, the Bison played a really good football game, had a good game plan put in place, and really they just found a way to get things done, whereas the Jacks didn't. Really, the Jacks found more ways to get in their own way when trying to get things done, and it really ended up hurting them in the end.
Jackrabbit players Jordan Brown and Dallas Goddard, they were both great in the post-game press conference in the face of some pretty tough questions.
I mean, obviously our first few drives went really well in the first half. I think we had 4 drives. We punted that one time, and then the last play of the half that our offense had was the fumble. They got to the half-yard line. Our defense had a great stand. But they did a great job controlling the clock. A couple third downs and a couple fourth downs we didn't convert. It was just we just got to execute a little bit better. The things were there, but we didn't take advantage like we could have.
All right, so 36-10 final. North Dakota State a 22-minute advantage in time of possession. The Bison had the ball for more than 24 of the 30 minutes in the entire second half. The Bison 10 of 13 on third down. That's hard to swallow, right?
It's tough to win football games when your defense performs in that manner on third down. No matter who you're playing, let alone the 5-time defending national champs, got to find a way as a defense to get off the field on third down.
Bright spots for South Dakota State. 6 catches for Goddard. He ends the year with 92. That is an SDSU single-season record. Jake Winicky ends the season 223 career catches. That's just 2 shy of tying the school record held by Josh Davis. And Taryn Christian ties the SDSU single-season record. 30 touchdown passes this year. The Jacks set or tied 20 individual school records on offense. And we'll talk more with Coach Stig about some of those things coming up in a bit. But next, Coach takes you through the first game, through the game highlights, the trick play, that 10-second runoff rule at the end of the first half, and how it got away after that.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, Dakota Land Honda, Service First Federal Credit Union, and JackrabbitCentral.com.
Welcome back. Coach Stiegelmeier was in a good mood this week. He chooses to be. He's kind of a big picture guy more than most. His issue is getting into the new stadium to talk to us on Mondays. Can we get the man a key to the stadium? Please. Here he is with the game recap. All right, Coach, before we get into the game highlights, talk about 2 things first. The Chinese fire drill, the gadget play, whatever you want to call it, that you guys scored a touchdown. Whose idea was this? Where did it come from?
Well, I think it originated from Coach Jason Eck, our new offensive line coach. He brought with him videos of trick plays, and that's his personality. He's a fun-loving guy, and they practice that play all year long for that one moment.
And it worked. All right.
It was run to perfection, really.
And then talk about the 10-second runoff is something you rarely see at the end of the first half. Explain how that works.
Yeah, under a minute when you have an offensive penalty, which the perception is they're trying to stop the clock. Right. You can't do that, and so you have your choice in whether you take the 10. The penalty's a penalty, whether you take the 10 seconds or not. The reason you have a choice is, if they're backed up, we want to call a timeout, make them punt, and maybe have some time. So we had a choice. It was a no-brainer.
And they had no timeouts. It worked out.
They could use a timeout to not get the time,
but did not have one. So it worked out well. All right, let's get into it here. First drive of the ball game, Brady Mengarelli on a run here to get it started.
Yeah, great job at the point of attack. He had to beat a guy. He beat him. We're playing with a lot of energy. We're excited to be there. We believe in our system. Great play here by Kyle. Just great blocking. Great system, great game plan. I thought he got in. I think everybody in America thinks he got in, but we didn't. Unfortunately, we line up in that area, get a penalty with all the noise, and then there you can see him talking about us not getting in.
All right, it did look like Paris got in, but he didn't. And then this is the play to score the touchdown.
Yeah, just simple trick play. In fact, they've run this against us years ago, so I guess all's fair in love and war.
Brady just makes sure he doesn't put his knee on the ground there.
Yes, yeah, and it's again, you slow it down here. It's really cool to see. Whatever we call it, I don't even know what we call it.
Pointing.
Yeah, it's
misdirection.
It's not something as a defense you practice very often. Let's put it that way. But it worked to perfection. It gave us a touchdown, gave us energy. I'm sure it was a little embarrassing for them, but they rose up.
All right, Jack's up 7-0, and then NDSU's first possession here. Easton Stick played well. You get him here, though.
He did play well, too well in long yardage situations. We'll talk about that later. But big play there to be able to get the ball back, make him punt. And again, we drive the field. Here we go to the pass. Earlier we did the run. Nice job of blocking there and hit Jake. And really, had our defense played well, our offense would have had a lot more opportunities to do this. But we didn't get it done.
All right, 5 catches on the day for Winneke. 2 plays later here, Dallas Goddard is open, and that could have been a touchdown.
Yeah, just didn't throw with confidence, wanted to feel it in there. It should have been a touchdown. It was a great scheme again. We do get points. Chase comes on and, again, kicked with authority and confidence, and we get up 10-0.
All right, first time all year, NDSU's been down by 10 points. Next Bison drive, though. This is 3rd and 15.
Yeah, we second-guess ourselves in terms of 3-man rush. That's what we should be in. Our Mike linebacker should not go past the first down markage. The 2 other linebackers should squeeze that route. Ideally, that's an interception, to be honest with you. Here, we call a blitz. The blitz is sound. Our 1D lineman goes the wrong way, so we played with 1 fewer guys at the point of attack. Our DN was a little soft, and against a good football team, it's a big play, and you can't do those things against a good football team.
All right, 10-7, Jack's up going into the second quarter here, and this is the beginning of that 20-play drive that goes over 12 minutes.
This makes it makes me want to cry. I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, 3rd and long, we jump a 5-yard route in front of us. I mean, that you rejoice when they throw that, and we give them the first down. We literally gave them the first down. This is hard to defend. Again, anytime you have a running quarterback, especially in play action, he absorbs people. They run the football, gets another first down and a 3rd and short.
I think they get 5 third-down conversions on this drive. Stick ends it off with a touchdown here. Get caught inside, but again, good athlete at quarterback.
Well, they ran a play earlier. We stopped them. We felt they were going to do it again. You really have to blitz on the edge because your edge guy is playing the guy man to man, or you have to have an extra guy out there in short yardage. This was a tough situation. Taryn tried to throw it at the end. The ball slips out of hand. We went 2 minutes with 1 and 20 some, I think, left to go, and they get the ball. And this is a really cool. We're going to talk about this series for a long, long time at South Dakota State because we keep them out of there when the ball's on the 6-inch line. That is taking the field and believing you can make a difference. Now, we didn't win the football game, but that was an unbelievable job by our defense.
Yeah, that was after the 10-second runoff. You guys called it brilliantly to back them up, and then they run out of time here. But, yeah, keep them out of the end zone. So it's still 14-10 at halftime. Get into the third quarter here. Start of the third, NDSU driving, Nick Farina.
Yeah, we just, again, they drove the field, which internally our players are starting to think, can we stop them? We get a big play like that, but it's still inside. We got to get that out of their mindset. And here's where we get the ball. They blitz off the edge. They slant their D tackle. And tough to get the safety. Not a big play in the football game, but to have Brady get hurt, that's really tough because he's a great leader for us.
Exactly. Still 16-10, 19-10 after they get a field goal, and then this hurts as well. Touchdown that gets called back.
This is unbelievable. We call the play. It's silent in the huddle. We call the play in the huddle. We have another guy, just like our D tackle, it's on a different page. We have him run a running play. He's upfield. The penalty's right, and it keeps us. And that would have got us right back into the game. Here again, 99% of the people would call that interference. They're holding Dallas. They throw it to get an interception. Huge play in their part. Huge play in that point in the field. And just everything is going their way and not our way right now.
Yeah, they go in and score, make it 22-10. Then the fourth quarter here. stick on another escape to the outside.
Yeah, here we blitz. A guy plays it too far upfield. He's a good athlete. He gets in the end zone.
All right, 36-10. As you said, after what point? After halftime, maybe? Where did it start to get away, and why?
Well, it got away when we couldn't stop them on defense. The 20-play drive was fine.
You survived that, yeah.
Regroup, but when then it is time of possession, 41 minutes in their part.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't take a rocket science just to figure out that it's a tough game, and that affects everybody in the football team. It affects coaches. You have to be strong-willed. You have to have mental focus, and we just weren't.
All right. You and Dallas Goedert, Jordan Brown, in the press conference afterward of that, you were patient and very gracious in that. I thought it was a credit to you and your guys.
Well, we're a first-class program, and up there, they act like we're bad people. They're just an intense environment. But I thought Dallas really handled the one question really, really well. In fact, he used the defender's whole name in talking about him, which I think surprised the press. That's a whole different world up there, and it's a good world. It's what you want as a program. We will be there.
All right. When we come back, let's talk about this. We're going to talk about what's the next step and some of Stig's favorite moments from this season. Welcome back with Coach Stiegelmeier and another 9-win season. You did some things this year that have never been done in Jackrabbit football history. So now, 3 days later, everybody wants to know what's next. What's the next step to get to where you want to be?
Well, the next step is to put closure on this season, and talk about the season with our team. And really, there's a kind of a unique tradition in our program. It'll be a team meeting, and at some point, I will say, seniors, you now are, when you walk through this door, you're part of the football family. You're football alums, and I will thank them for a great year. And then we'll kind of draw a line and say, this is what's next. And there's a lot of hard work ahead. There's the belief. There's football is a game of 6 inches here, 6 inches there. And there's the mental toughness that you develop all year long to be able to make that play when it's needed.
All right. And you talk about those guys that are going to be leaving. Got to talk to Shane Gottlob and Trent Hill and Nick Mears and all these guys. Really good football players, great people, and that's got to make you proud.
Unbelievably proud and emotional, because they literally come in and they commit to you. They sign a letter of intent, and then they kind of almost sign over their life to you. And I don't mean that negatively. Their commitment is phenomenal. In the summer, they're getting up at 6, they're running at 7, lifting at 6, running at 7, going to work, going to class, and then they literally look you in the eye and say, what else can I do, Coach? And those guys, the guys and all of them that you mentioned, great leadership, and one of the reasons, if not the reason, we got to a different place we'd been this season.
All right. And we never thought it would surpass when Zach Zenner was here and Austin Sumner and all those guys and Jason Schneider. But how does that happen that you can keep building on what's been here and keep getting better every year, keep advancing further every year?
Tom, I use the example of a baton. When you get the baton passed to you, you're supposed to run as fast as you can. And that baton has been passed from this senior class, and it was passed from Zenner's class and Sumner's class, and the expectation is high. And you know what? When they pass that baton symbolically, you want to do more than the last class, not because you think you're better, but because of what they taught you and showed you. So to me, it's a great picture of being part of a big program at South Dakota State.
And there were a lot of redshirt freshmen this year, and the guys that didn't play this year that sat out as red shirts that are coming up. And the talent just keeps getting better and better. It seems like just the raw talent. And then you put that together with Taryn and Jake and all these guys coming back for the next season. It's something to look forward to, isn't it?
Oh, it is. We've got a great football team coming back. We've got, again, great leaders in the lower classes. They've already displayed that. We've got a true freshman class that was redshirted for the most part that is ready to go, and they're eager to get the spring ball. Now, everybody else is saying the same thing. Everybody else is doing the same thing. And so, again, we need to do that and more. We claim we're the hardest working football team in America. We need to do that.
All right. What were some good stories from this season? Good plays, great players, games, any kind of moments that you remember from this season that kind of make you smile now that you're looking back?
Yeah, well, there's so many of them, and I can't remember last week most of the time. I think honestly, the trip to TCU and
Really?
going to a place with that kind of reputation and walking on the field. And I looked in our players' eyes and I said, these guys are ready to play. They're not intimidated. And for 3 quarters, we played with them. And that was pretty cool to see. And I think that started some stuff. I think it was a tough game, a tough situation when we lost to Cal Poly.
Yeah.
You know, the press was on us a little bit. We played very poorly on defense. We doubted ourselves a little bit.
Well, there was a lot of doubt when you were 1-2.
There really was. And credit to our coaches to say, hey, man, get your head up. We're going to take part of the responsibility. You take part of our responsibility. We have a bye week or an improvement week. We come back and crush Western Illinois, was a pretty good football team and is a pretty good football team. The North Dakota State victory.
Nice to have the marker. Yes.
Was special. The conference championship was special. Going to UNI and winning at their place was really good. Beating Youngstown on Hobo Day, all those things. To be honest with you, I will always say this. The people part of this whole thing is much more important to me. So when these guys come back in 10 years and they're married and they have a couple kids and they say, Coach, remember, that is going to be my greatest victory from this year.
All right. Dallas Goedert sets the school record for catches this year. Did you see that coming? That he would emerge that far?
No, I didn't see that. We knew we had a really good tight end. We knew he worked really hard. Part of that is on him, how hard he works. And I mean, if you watch practice, he plays like that all the time. Again, that's kind of a Zenner postulate, if you will. That's how you get better. But a gifted guy, game plans to help him do that. And then you got Jake Winicky on the other side of the ball that really is equally as talented.
But just fun to see guys break out like that you knew were going to be good players, but then just take off and become superstars. That's part of the fun, isn't it?
Yeah, and everybody has a role. And when you say that, I keep going back to the fat guys, that we have this, not hodgepodge, but these guys that haven't played, a defensive guy, a guy come back from an injury, and how well did they rise up and allow our offense to have success? So it's a team loss always, it's a team win, and it's a team season.
And you see Nick Carr on social media talking about, I've been playing football for 14 years, I'm done now. It's kind of sad, but it's part of it's part of the deal, isn't it?
Yeah, and we have so many guys that come here as student athletes. They come here to say, I'm going to get a degree, and I'm going to pour myself into football, and I'm going to be great in everything. And I mean, we've got if you looked at the GPAs of those seniors, a guy like Nick Carr, he's going to be an engineer, phenomenal job. And I know it hurt. That was a tough locker up at North Dakota State when their career was ended, but they have bright futures.
Well, up next, Hank McCall with some relatively intelligent thoughts on what lies ahead for the Jackrabbit football team and a check on the home attendance numbers for the Jacks this year. Welcome back. The Jackrabbit football season comes to an end in the third round of the FCS playoffs. Hank, 9 wins again this year. That's the 4th time in the last 5 years. The Jacks are still one of only 4 teams in the country that have made the FCS playoffs for 5 straight seasons. So now what? You got to get nitpicky on what we can do, the Jacks can do to get a little bit further.
You do. And those 2 stats that you mentioned, they're nothing to shake a stick at, and they're something for this program to be very proud of, which they certainly are. But what is it going to take to get to double-digit wins? I think, number one, these guys, if you're getting nitpicky, you got to find a way to find an impactful edge rusher that can change a game or 2 for you and help make a difference in these types of big games where, as we saw last Saturday, NDSU was able to sit back and, for the most part, wait for guys to find windows in that zone defense and then deliver accurate balls and pick up big first downs on 3rd and longs.
All right, little things like that, yes. If you go by the starters from this last game, though, the Jacks will have 16 of those 22 guys back, 10 of 11 of the offense coming back with just Nick Carr moving on. Jacks will take a hit on defense, lose Bobbitt and Dallas Brown, those good linebackers, Nick Mears, Cole Langer, Jared Bloom. They're going to have to do a little replacement on defense.
They are, some holes to fill, and there are every single year. Yep. And we know that there's some young, talented guys that are chomping at the bit to get out there. But now, next season, it starts today. And so what are those young guys going to do to take themselves, not to be what the guy was before them who played all this year, but to be better than that individual? What's it going to take?
All right, just some average home attendance numbers this year at the new stadium. 13,753. That's an increase of 854 per game from last season. If you take out the home playoff game, which attendance falls for, it's up more than 2,000 from a year ago. So people are showing up, a new record this year in the Youngstown game on Hobo Day. positive signs there as well.
Most definitely. A lot to be excited about around the program. The new stadium's beautiful. We all know that. But there's a heck of a football team, a lot of talent to watch on Saturdays, too. The stadium was designed for this program to grow into, for this fan base to grow into, and that's exactly what it's going to keep doing over the next couple of years.
All right. Thanks to Hank McCall. Thanks to Stig, the players, and all the football ops people at South Dakota State. We got some basketball coming up next.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, Dakota Land Honda, Service First Federal Credit Union, and JackrabbitCentral.com.
Welcome back. After a 1-6 start, the SDSU men's basketball team has won 4 of its last 5. The Jacks beat Idaho 80-77 at Frost Arena to keep the home win streak alive at 33 in a row. A.J. Hess with 18 points and Mike Dahm with a career-high 33. So the men are 5-7. They play at home this Saturday afternoon at 4 o'clock against Murray State. Meanwhile, the SDSU women trying to get used to the idea that Macy Miller could be out for this season. Nothing confirmed as of yet. Miller injured her knee at the end of the first half against Green Bay this past Friday. And as of Tuesday, there was no official word on the injury. Miller was set to travel with the team to Louisville for a game there on Wednesday. And then the Jacks are back at home this Sunday to take on Bowling Green. We will have that game live on Midco Sports Network at noon. After Christmas, the men open the Summit League season. We'll have both those games on the 28th and the 31st.